Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Jeremy Long. Welcome to Levels, a show where you punch people in the face. We like you. We definitely like you, and you're on the Christmas list.
On the list.
She is the Sportsnista, Cassandra Cusino. Cece, how are you this evening?
I'm good. It's Friday Eve,
Yes.
downtown Las Vegas. About to talk about some fighting. I'm good.
Yeah, we are. We're going to talk some fighting. Joining us in just a minute or so, boxer Adam Lopez. You may remember him from his fight last weekend against Oscar Valdez, where he put the world champion flat on his back.
Yeah.
And eventually the fight was called off, not in his favor, in Lopez's favor, but he gained a ton of new fans with that heart, that determination, and that grit right there, man. And he's a very humble guy. He's going to be joining us in just a few. And we were talking about Usher before the show started. And just remember that's what we were talking about before we started talking about punching people in the face. We're going to let it burn, though.
That's it.
We're going to let it burn. We're not going to get caught up.
No.
But we will have some confessions in a little bit. Before Adam joins us on the line, let's hit a couple of news and notes going around right now. Fresh off the press, Frankie Edgar is taking Brian Ortega's spot and will face the Korean Zombie in South Korea in a couple of weeks. Yeah, what do you think about that? Frankie Edgar.
You know, hey, I'd like to see Frankie Edgar. That's all cool. Sad to see that Ortega is hurt again.
Yeah.
But it was a smart move. So it was an ACL rupture, and I guess the doctor said if you do fight, you will completely tear the whole thing, and your whole leg gonna come off or something crazy. So he's like, I'm gonna save my leg, and I'm not gonna fight this time. But it seems like it's been like 2 years since Ortega took that whooping.
Yeah, that was December 2018.
Yeah.
He didn't fight at all in 19, or he was supposed to fight this one time, but it ain't happening now.
But heal up T-City, because hopefully when he comes back, he'll be on the right trajectory. I think there was a lot expected of him.
Yeah.
And he was completely outclassed by Max. So let's see what you got.
Let's see what he does. Excuse me. Also, Dana White comes out and says Conor McGregor says he wants to fight Jorge Masvidal at welterweight. What do you think here? Does Conor McGregor really want that smoke?
You want to fight in the octagon, in the cage? Is that where they want to fight, or at Whole Foods, or where's Masvidal doing his whoopings lately? I mean, we'll see what he does in January and what kind of conditioning he's in, because he's been drinking a whole lot of Proper 12, doing a whole lot of partying. So Masvidal, man, it's just a whole different kind of beast. That's like asking for your head to get kicked in.
And McGregor's not a big
reason.
170.
Not at all. For no reason, though.
Yeah. And his pride was hurt. He wants that belt.
Yeah.
He wants the
Does he want the BMF belt? That's not
belt.
even. Isn't it been retired though? I'm gonna ask Dana that. Like, did we retire the?
They're
BMF
gonna bring it out
belt?
on special occasions,
stuff?
man.
I
You
don't
know they
think
are.
so.
They made so much money on
Who
that.
else? Who else?
They're gonna sell them. I think they're selling them in UFC shops right now.
Of course
I'm gonna
they
buy
are.
I'm gonna buy one
Of
for this
course.
show.
I mean, I'm not gonna buy one because I was born with one. But
No, it's getting thick already. It's getting deep, and you ain't that tall, girl.
Sometimes people's gotta know.
Benson Henderson is out versus his in his fight versus Michael Chandler with an undisclosed injury. Sidney Outlaw will replace him on Bellator 237, which features a main event of, what year is this? Fedor versus Rampage is the main event. This will happen in Japan, where it's like Godzilla and King Kong, I guess, going up against each other. You decide who's who. And yay for the Japanese fans, I guess.
Yeah, that's going to be a hot mess, right? Can you imagine that going anywhere past 2 minutes and 13 seconds?
Fedor
Somebody
is not the Fedor that the Japanese fans remember. And Rampage is not the Rampage we all remember.
No.
But Rampage, I think, still has the power. Fedor has the quickness, but his jaw is gone. His jaw, for as great as his jaw was for years, his jaw is gone, and this needs to be his swan song.
Isn't that inevitable? I mean, your jaw is going to go once you've been hit in it multiple times. But,
Yeah, and especially at heavyweight. He's been being hit by a lot of big dudes over the years. So
The biggins.
we'll see. We'll see how that goes. It made me laugh because I'm like, who's Sydney Outlaw? But
Great
that's
name.
Bellator.
Great name though.
Yeah, Sydney Outlaw. That's a marketer's dream right there.
Born to do
The
something.
Outlaw. The Ream. Speaking of names, the Outlaw. The Ream returns against Jairzinho Rosenstruck, who is the next superstar for the UFC. As long as this guy can keep winning, I'm telling you, he's got the look, he's got the build and the pedigree.
What's his nickname?
Of course, you would ask.
Well,
me.
I'm just wondering, like, I hope he has one.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It's like how
The
can you say
Ream
that-
versus the Strook. Come on, the
okay.
Strook. Yeah, I like it. So that's this Saturday in the main event for the UFC card. And just in case you're wondering, a lot of great fights. We got boxing, we got MMA, all kinds
Man.
of stuff going on
Yeah.
this Saturday.
Good
But-
weekend. I don't have to go anywhere. I just get to post up all day.
There you go. The card also features the return of Stefan Struve, the skyscraper, the 6'11" fighter out
Big
of
dude.
Denmark, I think.
Something like that.
Something like that. But he's returning against Ben Rothwell, big Ben Rothwell.
Gonna have to
And-
be big.
Yeah. And Aspen Ladd is
Mm-hmm.
making her return after a while.
Yeah, she looks good too. She had some trouble with the weight cut previously, but had a really good camp.
She had a horrible weight cut the
Uh,
last couple of times.
She had was it 7 vertebrae that were herniated? 7 herniated discs, something crazy like that she had to heal from. So,
Wow.
yeah.
The thing that gets me, I saw, reporters are just doing their thing. You're in scrums and you're just trying to get answers to stuff. And if you are a fighter who has battled weight problems, making weight, obviously you're going to get asked questions about your weight. And when fighters
you
get
gonna be mad?
pissy about their weight whenever they've had problems making weight, it's kind of like you got to roll your eyes a little bit. Like, dude,
Yeah,
if you don't have any problems making weight,
we're not going
we're not going to ask you questions about it.
But they also, at that time, if it is a press conference and they're getting ready for a fight, they probably are weight cutting at the moment, and they're
they're-
probably hungry,
they're-
hangry. And it's Jessica I, by the way, that had the herniated, not Ladd. Speaking of hungry, like I tried to have a Snickers bar real quick so that I could get my blood sugar back up. So all I had was some broth for lunch. So I'm getting back. I'm getting
She
back.
had some broth for lunch.
Broth.
This,
it was all
this
I
goes
could
back to that
find.
vegetarian
It
thing.
was just foolishness.
You could have had you a cheeseburger.
No, what had happened was I had some pho yesterday, but my kids jacked me for like all the pho goodies. Like, and they just left me with broth in there.
Oh,
So,
Pho.
yeah.
I did not know.
Pho. Pho. Fools. Pho. Fools.
Like,
Soup,
Come on,
man.
can I-
Vietnamese soup.
This
Pho.
Down,
woman
Cassandra.
here.
Get settled down.
I know.
She taking off her earrings. She took off her earrings
I
already.
took out my earrings
She already said
already.
she's hangry,
I'm hangry.
and now she's cussing at us. I don't care what language you're using. Don't cuss at me on my show. All right.
We're getting there.
All right. So now we're gonna break in the news here. We are going to have our guest join us. Boxer Adam Lopez is on the line with us now. Adam, how are you this evening?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing wonderful, man. First off, I know it's weird to say congratulations after a loss, but man, you earned so many new fans, including us two here. A lot of people for that grit, that determination, how humble you are after the fact, and the fact that you put a world champion on his butt, man. And so just congratulations first off.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, even though I lost, everyone's been congratulating me for the night.
Yeah, it feels like you introduced yourself in the ring. I know that you were here in Las Vegas in 2018, correct, at the Park MGM card?
What was that?
Was that you were in Las Vegas December of 2018 at Park MGM, correct?
Yeah, that was my first fight with Top Rank.
And I know Top Rank is super excited. So let's properly introduce you to folks. So Adam Lopez fights out of Glendale. And just took a fight on about 4 minutes notice against Oscar Valdez. So it was so we were at the weigh-in, and it was announced that Gutierrez, who was supposed to fight Oscar Valdez, was 11 pounds over. And lo and behold, Bob Arum was hot as fish grease. And as he was throwing Gutierrez out of the hotel, he was also saying, let's talk to Lopez and see if he'll take the fight. So were you hearing what was going on out there? When were you first notified that Arum wanted you to actually move to the main event and fight to?
It kind of came really quick. You know, I had weighed in. I walked out of the room. I left the room we weighed in at. I went to go eat, and I saw a couple of my family members, and I was still like right outside the room. And my manager grabbed me and said they wanted to speak with me. And I said, okay, what do we got going? Like an interview or something? And then she's like, no, they want you to fight Oscar Valdez. And I was like, wait, what? What's going on? And then they told me, yeah, he came in heavy, his opponent, and they're asking if you could step up and be in the main event against Oscar. And I looked at my coach. I was like, really? Because it was like, at first I thought they were messing with me. And then my coach was like, yeah. And I was like, yo, buddy, I could beat this guy. And my coach was like, okay, we'll let them talk it over with your managers. Let's go eat and see what happens. And that's just kind of how it came upon me. It kind of just happened really quick.
Well, so you are being trained by Buddy McGirt, and you also don't you have like a whole new team?
I recently just signed with Sheer Sports Management about 3 weeks before this fight.
Wow. So it's been a whirlwind. Everything was happening. They call you Blue Nose. Where now I know there's a Blue Nose pit, but is that where the name comes from?
That's kind of where it came from. My brother, I think I was about 15. I think I was about 16 or 17. My brother would say I felt like a blue nose, and he said I felt like a pit bull. And then my favorite color's always been blue, and then he kind of just named me Blue Nose, and it kind of just stuck.
So you come from a boxing family, of course. Your father was a former champ. Is your brother boxing as well?
Yeah, he had 11 pro fights. He took a step back from boxing and he started going to school, and he took up computer coding, and he just landed a really good job.
Oh.
So he's doing really good right now. He still trains every now and then. He still has the itch to fight, but you know, boxing is a very tough business, and it's hard to make money. And when you're not making money, you're not really eating much, and you know, you got bills to pay, and it's just a tough business. And for me, I kind of caught success early on taking on those tough fights. I was on TV, I think my 6th fight, and I started making decent money. And my former manager at the time was just kept putting me on those tough fights, and you know, I was getting by, and I saw the future, and I just stuck with it.
I talked with you briefly at the end of the event, and your brother was your hype man. You know, he was like, my brother's gonna be a problem. You're gonna see him again, and this is only the beginning. So who took the loss harder, you or your brother?
I think my brother definitely. He's still mad. He jumped in the ring after the fight. They were trying to stop him from getting in the ring. He's like, you guys better get out of my way. That's my brother up there. And he jumped in, and he was pissed off. He was yelling, and we're all like, yo, calm down. It's all right, man. You know, we're on TV here. We got to relax.
Calm yourself down. Did you think the stoppage was early? Have you watched it back?
Yeah, I watched it a few times. I definitely think it was a little early. I was honestly like, that's when I started feeling clear, you know. I was seeing clear. My balance was good. I was finally, you know, recovered. I felt completely recovered at that point, and he kind of just hit me with the arm punch, and it looked a lot worse than it was. Like, it pushed my head back, but I was fine, and the ref just jumped in and stopped it. It's unfortunate, but that's boxing. I can't really go back to it now.
Right. How eager are you to run it back with Valdez? Do you think now it'll probably be a little bit tougher to get that second fight now that he knows that you can put him down like that?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be tough to get it out of him. I mean, he told me he'd give it to me, but I know it's ultimately up to his people. It's not up to him. Right. So we're just going to have to just see what happens. Definitely, I know it's not going to come in the next couple of months. He's got to go get his belt at 130. I'm going to go back down to 26, get my belt, and then hopefully 2021, I can go up and take his belt and become a 2-time world champion.
Hey, I can definitely see it happening. What did you learn as a result of that fight with Oscar? I mean, it's probably like your best competition so far, right?
Yeah, the fight definitely gave me some confidence. You know, I got in there with one of the best fighters in the world, and I showed I belong. But definitely what I took most from it was, I think the build-up alone was the hardest task. You know, as soon as the fight got announced, my phone was ringing. I had to do interviews. I had to do photo shoots, and this was right after the weigh-in. So I had just, you know, drained my body to make weight. I just ate, and then it was just like right away. Got to go back, do photo shoots, interviews, ESPN fighter meetings, sitting and talking with everybody. And then I finally got to my hotel room, and I went to sleep. So for me, that was the most out of it, you know. But I took it all like a learning experience, and I got a lot out of it.
Now, did you weigh in at 126?
Yeah, I was 126 on the dot.
So, and Oscar was 130 on the dot. Did they talk to either one of you about any rehydration clause, or they were just like, just go for it?
No, I actually asked if we could put that in the contract. He can't go over 140, and they said, okay, the most we could do is 142. And he actually weighed 139.8 the morning of the fight.
What did you weigh?
I was 134.
Was close enough. Right?
Yeah, close enough.
Still under that 141 that Gutierrez came in at.
Right.
That's for certain.
Now,
yeah, definitely.
With all this, you know, kind of success and everything, you signed with Top Rank. You know, you're doing your fights and everything, and now all this attention on you after the Valdez fight. You know, you got a lot of more people calling your name. Probably, you know, I can only imagine the whirlwind you're dealing with right now. How do you, as a fighter, keep yourself level and keep grinding out and saying, hey, you know, I still got a ways to go, and you know, how do you stay focused?
Honestly, I prepared for this moment since I started boxing. You know, I knew it was going to come eventually. It just came a lot quicker than I anticipated. I wasn't expecting to get a big fight like this for maybe, you know, another year. But since I turned pro, I mean, before I turned pro, I always knew this time was going to come, and I was going to have eyes on me, and people were going to see what I could do in there, because yeah. I've always known I got something special in the ring, and it was just a matter of time before the world could see it.
Man, and a lot of the praise that you get, that you are getting right now is, you know, after the fight and they're talking to you in the ring, you know, your humbleness, how humble you are as a fighter. You know, even though a lot of fighters probably would have been protesting a lot and jumping up and down and everything else, but you stayed calm, you stayed collected. And a lot of people were commenting on how humble you seemed as a guy. But I know that's got to be fake, right? I know you ready. You got some Versace, you know, shoes ready to on you eyeballed on. I mean, I know that's not really you, right? I mean, where did you get that humbleness from, man? It's got to be moms and dads.
That's who I am, man. That's me all the way. You know, I was mad after the fight, and as soon as my manager jumped in the ring, I said, yo, I want a rematch right away. Yeah. And she was on the phone. She was talking to our partners, and she said, okay, just make sure you say it on camera. Make sure everybody could hear it. I said, okay. And, you know, that's me. I'm not one to talk smack or nothing. You know, I give respect to Oscar. He's a champion. He's done a lot in this game.
Right.
That's me. You know, I didn't go out and start spending money, and, you know, I'm trying to save this money, and, you know, can't forget about Uncle Sam. I got to save money for that, too.
Man, I'm not trying to be in your pocket, but I know that check was different on Saturday than it was supposed to be on that Thursday, Friday. I know that. So
yeah, it was a lot different for sure.
Yeah, we're not inviting Uncle Sam anywhere.
No. He's not invited. Well, you know, kind of looking at things. Today, the International Boxing Hall of Fame announced their 2020 inductees, and included Bernard Hopkins, Juan Manuel Marquez, Sugar Shane Mosley, people like that. Was there a fighter that you looked up to when you were growing up and when you started training that you could really recognize with and idolize?
You know, I can't say I did. Growing up, I didn't really watch much boxing. My mom really tried to keep me away from it.
What?
Okay. I would say my father, definitely. You know, I would have his old fights. I'd have his old interviews. And I saw the way he carried himself. And, you know, I really looked up to him and saw how he did it. Definitely my dad. And then once I started getting trained by Buddy, I looked how he would fight and how he did his interviews and how he carried himself. And, you know, that's kind of how I really looked up to. But I didn't really have too many fighters I looked up to growing up.
Anybody current? Anybody current that you kind of just keep an eye out for?
I mean, I like what Mikey Garcia is doing. He's challenging himself, which is something I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Lomachenko, I really like watching. He's one of a kind. Yeah. I mean, even still today, I don't watch too many fights.
There you go. See, I'll tell you, that's that humbleness. He's looking in the mirror right now. He's going, I'm only watching me. I'm
like
only watching me, baby.
And, is that what you're doing? Hey, you worked with Buddy McGirt leading up to last week, and what were some of the things that Buddy challenged you to do?
Before the fight, or
no,
in
camp, just in camp. I mean, he is a Hall of Fame trainer. Not many people get an opportunity to work with that caliber of a trainer. And so what were some of the things that he helped you do that were a little different?
The main things we focus on in camp are, keeping my emotions in check. Because, once you get hit, you usually want to go back and fire back right away. So that's like one thing that he definitely has to keep in check. And we just really focus on fundamentals, good defense, a good jab. And with me, Buddy knows that a lot of my natural abilities will eventually take over once I get in my rhythm and once I set up everything. So that's the main thing he wants me to do, is set up everything with the jab, head movement, some good feints, and everything else will follow.
You said something really interesting that caught my attention. You said about keeping your emotions in check. In my observation, Oscar Valdez is an emotional fighter, especially since we've seen him after what happened with Scott Quigg. Did you notice that at all? Like, did you all talk about that camp?
Yeah, honestly, before, when I was in the fighter meeting, they said, what do you know about Oscar, and what do you think that you have an advantage over him? And I said, he's an emotional fighter. He fights with his emotions. Once he gets hit, everything goes out the window, and he comes guns blazing. And I said, once I get him to lose once I see him lose his emotions, I know I got him.
Very cool. So what's next, man? Before we let you go, let's find out what you got cooking for 2020 and where we can find you.
2020, I mean, it's going to be a big year. Top Rank is really happy with what happened last weekend. And like I said, I'll be fighting at 126 still. Unless Oscar wants a rematch, I have no problem going up. But 2020, hopefully capture a world title at 126, defend it, and then shoot for 130, go back for Oscar. And if he don't want it, then I don't know. We'll see what happens.
He don't want it, but he might have to get it.
I might have to press him for it.
Well, you like I said at the beginning, you've earned a ton of new fans and nothing but success to you in the next year, my friend. And you know what? I can't wait to talk to you again after you capture that title at 126. And you know what? I hope like maybe a year from now, you and Valdez run it back again and give us a Fight of the Year candidate.
Oh, let's give your social
we will
media
definitely get it. It's BluNose Lopez on Instagram, BluNose Lopez.
There you go, BluNose Lopez. Thank you so much for taking time out, man, and like we said, nothing but success to you.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. I mean, you really enjoy when fighters are like that. He's just got a cool, calm demeanor.
He's regular
very
person.
Humble. He's very regular. Like you said, man, he's like, I didn't really watch much boxing. I didn't really idolize anyone except my dad. And I still don't, so I mean, he's just doing it now. The only difference is now he's getting them checks.
But could you imagine? I mean, he was probably literally like putting his clothes on, eating a sandwich, and not even know. Because I walked in the room, and it was just this big room, and had like curtains partitioning off of the fighters, and he's minding his business, getting ready to fight.
Right.
And the next day, and Bob's out there screaming, get him out the hotel, and he's like, we're gonna offer the fight to Lopez. Because I think actually Adam might have an NABF strap, or the person he was fighting
A junior
had a
like
junior one.
belt.
Yeah. And so it wasn't like they just pulled any guy.
He's-
I mean, they knew what they had.
Yeah.
And he just stepped up. And man, when
Yeah.
Oscar went down,
It's one of those classic cases of you can win by losing sometimes, or you can win in losing. You know,
you ain't got to get ready if you stay ready.
and it's a lesson to all the young fighters out
Yeah.
there. And I think our good friend Blair Cobbs
Mhm.
said that a couple of weeks back when we had him on the show. You know,
Yep.
just staying ready and just staying in that
Yep.
mentality, staying near weight.
Yeah.
And when those opportunities come up, you kind of jump at those opportunities. So
And you ain't
good
gotta let
good
it
to
go.
hear from Adam Lopez, and really nothing
Awesome.
but success to him and his team. And in a minute, we're going to share an interview that you had with Buddy McGirt, the Hall of Fame trainer. Before we get to that, I did mention the Hall of Fame inductees: Bernard Hopkins, Juan Manuel Marquez, Sugar Shane Mosley, and on the ladies' side, Christy Martin and Lucia Riker. There's your
Yeah.
2020 class.
No Layla.
No Layla Ali. That's the one that stood out to me. And we had that show with TC Martin. Kind of talked about our locks for it, and we pretty much thought Layla would be a lock. And I'd like to see why, and let's see how
What
those
those
actual
numbers.
numbers are and things
Yeah.
like that.
I listened
Very interesting.
back to our show, and we had Riker as like a 1A.
Mhm.
Definitely possible, but
Mhm.
she was behind Layla and Christy Martin for certain.
Yeah.
So I ain't really mad at it. She
No,
deserved to get
Christy
in.
Martin, we thought absolutely, because I mean, she was women's boxing. She introduced the world, well, the U.S.
Yeah.
population anyway, to.
I want to go to that ceremony. I might.
Yeah.
I might. It's
We'll
upstate
send you.
Park.
We'll
It's
send
like
you.
3 hours away from where my family lives, so I
Mhm.
could kind of like swing it, like to be a family trip.
Yeah.
Go to the Hall of Fame induction.
You
and then
absolutely should.
drive down, but then I have to bring my children.
Oh, why? Lose the bet? Don't do that.
Exactly.
Then it's horrible. I'm just kidding.
Jeez, damn
Um,
it, Grandma.
Let's cue up that Buddy McGirt video here. When did you catch McGirt?
This was after the fight,
Like
so
right
they were
after?
actually cleaning. Not right up there, we're cleaning up the Cosmo. We were standing
Okay.
there. It was very little light, and they wanted us to get out, actually. And
They
so
always want you to get out. right
Adam
after a
was on
fight.
one side, and Buddy was on the other. I was like, let me get Buddy real quick, and then we'll get Adam.
All right, let's check this out.
Sportsnista here with Buddy McGirt. What a night you had, huh?
Hey, it was a great night. Great night of boxing. You know, my guy, he lost the battle, but he won the war. He showed he belonged. His stock went up. And now he can go back down to 126 and win the world title next year.
It seemed like he came out to fight tonight. Was that the plan, just to be
You know,
aggressive and take
when
it to
you're
him?
young and you get an opportunity like this on 30 minutes notice,
Yeah, pretty much.
you know what I mean? And, you know, they say they give you an hour to think about it. You know what I mean? It's a career-changing thing. And he says, buddy, I can beat this guy. I said, well, if you believe it, let's go.
I mean, he came out with all the tools. He looked like he was ready, so
Yes.
good on you. I was just saying, actually, sitting down, who's had a crazier year as a trainer? More so than Buddy McGirt. I mean, you know, unfortunately, the thing with Dadashev, and then Kovalev says some interesting things. So what did you think when Sergey came out and said that he didn't think he was going to win, and that people were ignoramus for thinking that he could? Was that news to you?
Yes, it was news to me because I just can't picture him saying that. I
So
can't.
you don't think he said it?
No, I don't think he said it.
Have you talked with him since the comments came out?
Yeah, and he said, buddy, I would never say anything like that. I didn't even mention it to him. I didn't mention it. He just called me, and we were just talking, having a friendly conversation. And if you go back to his Instagram, he reposted something saying that he didn't say nothing like that he wouldn't. So I don't know, man. You know how this social media is.
Yeah, it can take off on you. Well, it's
Yeah.
good to clear that up, that, you know, it was said to you that he never said it, and you didn't prompt him to tell you that
Right.
either.
Right, exactly.
What was the thing that you were most proud of your man tonight?
Everything he did. I was proud of, very, very proud of him tonight. A lot of people don't know what kind of pressure's going under. You know, you're fighting a two-time world champion, two-time Olympian, a guy no one's giving you no shot against, and you come in there and dominate the fight like that. Got to be proud of him.
Good work for you, too. Good work. Good,
Thank
good
you.
work by you, too.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Cassandra Cousineau, your girl, the Sportsnista.
Our girl, the Sportsnista, talking with Buddy McGurk.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
the Kovalev comments.
Yeah,
Nice.
you know, I watched that clip back, and he kind of like, you know, put his hand
He was like,
up. He's like, I want to talk about
Now we're talking about
this."
Adam Lopez.
Right, but I
Darn reporters.
wanted to ask the question, and so he said he ain't say it. So that's what
Okay.
happened.
Okay. Oh well.
I'm
That's
glad
what
he
he
ain't say
said. Yeah.
if he didn't say it, I'm glad he didn't say it.
Yeah. You got some news. The NSAC released the numbers for Wilder Ortiz. And share a little bit of these numbers with us and what's surprising to you about the numbers for Wilder Ortiz, which
Yeah, so actually we put up the story today on lvsportsbiz.com,
Mhm.
and the Nevada State Athletic Commission gives the promoters 10 days to provide their live gate numbers. What they don't collect is pay-per-view. It's up to the reporter up to the promoter to give those numbers in earnest.
Mhm.
So, PBC did say that the pay-per-view was 225,000 buys for Deontay Wilder versus Ortiz 2, which is, I think, a very modest number. When you think about the fact that Bob Arum is saying that he believes that Wilder Fury will do in the 2 million mark, that's a lot more that's a very steep climb to do. But then look a little deeper at these live gate numbers. So Wilder had 7,403 tickets sold, and out of that, there was another 1,726 comps. He did 4.063 million at the gate. That's a 538% increase over what he did with Stavern. So huge, right?
Yeah,
so
it's
now
building.
it is building. Now let's look at these Fury numbers. So Fury, when he fought earlier in the year against Tom Swartz, it was 5,489.
Mhm.
And some of those are comps. I don't have those numbers in front of me. And then Otto Vailene was 3,500 in the MGM Grand, nonetheless. So, yeah. So,
But they're thinking 2 million buys.
yeah, but I mean, so his two fights, Fury's two fights here in Las Vegas, if you add them together, that equals the live gate that Wilder had for that one fight against Ortiz. So,
Wow, interesting.
Ortiz should be carrying the card. He is an American-born heavyweight. Tyson Fury is just really starting to build his U.S. audience, but man, that's going to be a heck of a build-up.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
3 months, we got less than 3 months. If it's still going to be the 22nd, I mean, they can still move that date. So they confirm they're going to fight again.
Yeah.
They didn't say for real on the 22nd. They
February
haven't confirmed
22nd
that.
is the date they are throwing out there right now. That can always change.
Mhm.
But also Fury's working plans into WrestleMania with WWE, things like that. And he's on everything. And he's
He's
answering questions
everywhere.
about MMA. He's doing everything. I know somewhere they had a backroom conversation. They were like,
Man.
bro, you ain't as popular over here as you think. You know, we got head injury sports
Yeah.
playing, you know, right now. We need you to, you know.
You mean football?
Yeah, football. Yes, I'm sorry. That's what we call it, head injury sports.
Because, boxing and MMA.
Yeah, I know
Right.
boxing and MMA.
Not the
Totally
same
not. But we got people watching these. We need you to get your name out there, you know, because you might be
Yeah.
known in fight circles.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think sometimes people forget that boxing and MMA are still kind of those niche
Mm-hmm.
sports, you know.
But we love him.
but we
Fury
love him
is
so much.
definitely a
Blood.
tremendous pitch man for the promotion.
Yeah.
And if you need to put somebody out there, that he's definitely the one to help build. But it's a very short runway that they have, even though they've been talking about it for a year. It's a short runway to February to sell this fight, because really the pay-per-view numbers is what they need to work on.
All right. And then news. You got a little bit of news from great champion Nonito Donaire. So we're going to cue up this little piece of interview here. Cue us up here. What led into this? Where did you find Nonito?
Nonito came in with Dave Bautista, Drax from Guardian of the
Of
Galaxy.
all people.
Of all
You said they
people.
rolled together.
They rolled together. Like they came in as homies, and so. And actually, if you look at the clip, Batista's in the background, actually being interviewed by another outlet. And so, of course, I asked Nonito what's up with the retirement, if he was going to come back or not. Speaking of battling back, so I think you have definitely a candidate for Fight of the Year. Your battle with Inoue. What did you learn about yourself as a result? You've been in some battles, but that one was different.
One thing that I need to develop is killer instinct. I think that throughout the years, I've lost the killer instinct. And now because of that, I'm grateful because now I'm out there to destroy rather than to kind of see things the way, like a veteran and adapting to situation. I should have done the things that I've always done in the past, which is just go and seek and destroy.
Do you feel like maybe you were being more respectful of your opponent instead?
I have great respect for everybody. But when you're in there and you're getting hit, the respect goes out the window, It's just more, it's just more of the fact that what I put my body into, my muscle memory, it was like a sparring for me, because I've been there. There was no fear, there was no nervousness, and I haven't been like that in a long time where I'm eager, where I feel butterflies. I haven't been there in so many years, and I think that when I get that killer instinct all over again, I think that I'll start to feel that excitement all over again.
Do you feel like you were feeling that killer instinct as you were going through the rounds, or was it afterwards where you felt a little different?
Well, I know that maybe perhaps a couple years back, when someone is hurt, I go for the kill. And I saw the fight, I didn't go for the kill. I waited for the opportunity rather than create the opportunity, which I've always done in the past.
I know everybody's been asking, are you going to retire, you're not going to retire. What would make you not retire from boxing?
Well, my performance, the last performance, I went on par with somebody who was one of the best in the division. It's if it was an opposite way where there was just a complete domination, then there would be a thinking of how perhaps there would be a thought of maybe, but I know how good I did and how I can improve from it. So you'll see me a lot more.
So we're gonna see you again in the ring.
Oh, you're gonna see me for many more times in the ring.
Good to know. Thank you so much, Nonito. Pleasure to talk to you. Cassandra Cousineau, your girl, the Sportsnista.
There you go.
He ain't going nowhere.
He ain't going nowhere. He's got checks to cash, baby.
Did you see Bautista all in the shot?
Yeah. He knows. You rode with me. This is the price of the ride.
He knows. Nonito is probably one of my favorite boxers ever. He carries him. He's just such a good ambassador of the sport. And, man, he can throw.
Yeah.
He can throw. And I know Manny Pacquiao is, the senator of the Philippines, and he's the 1A. But, man, Nonito takes a backseat to nobody.
Right.
Even in the Philippines.
Yeah, man. And that's a very true statement. You hear a lot of fighters talk about that. Over a period of time, a lot of them lose that killer instinct. And you see a lot of great fighters kind of go through there. Maybe the first fighter is someone they can't quite figure out to put those finishing touches on to finish a fight, and then they start stringing them along. You think in MMA, George St. Pierre immediately jumps to mind. John Jones even. Yeah. His string of unanimous decisions after knocking guys out and putting guys to sleep, so with relative ease. And a lot of guys talk about that. They lose focus, and it becomes more of training, high-level training, sparring matches, just like he mentioned and everything. So it's good if he really did rediscover that, and he didn't look terrible in his fight.
No, it was a great fight.
So hopefully he gets that back again.
Yeah.
Because he, like you said, he's a great ambassador for the sport. He was a great champion. So
and I will say, his wife is a complete, or the girlfriend, I think it's the wife because there was some kids involved. Smoke show, like gorgeous.
Oh yeah, look at my man is dapper.
Yeah,
look at him.
Dapper.
He's got checks.
I was like, y'all make
looking.
some pretty babies.
yeah, like Usher in his day.
No.
Usher in his day. These are his confessions. His wife and his girlfriend were there. Sitting on opposite sides of the arena.
I ain't say nothing about no
We didn't
girlfriend.
say that, though.
I'm
We
just
are not
saying,
liable. We are just saying it would be funny.
Nonito will get personal. I'm trying to do that too.
Okay, so the other rematch is happening. the other
Yeah,
boxing rematch.
the-
It almost feels a little deflated after Wilder Ortiz, but Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz 2 is happening this Saturday on
Dude.
DAZN, and if you're here in Las Vegas, it's they're going to be getting it on around 12:45.
Yeah,
in the
we'll post
afternoon.
those times up on all the social media pages. But yep, it's going to be at noon. So
12:45, so you can have your
Yeah.
college football on and watch Andy Ruiz and Anthony
Because-
Joshua.
Bob Arum, and I actually have a clip of him saying this. He was like, the problem is they're up against the game of the year in LSU, Georgia.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, Bob's got LSU in that game, but we are going to be watching boxing in my house.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna catch some scores.
Well, I'll have DAZN
yeah.
on the phone and football on the TV.
Dude, I mean, they built that shrine in like 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's crazy. How fast they can put those things together now.
I'm like, is it a circus tent or
Yeah,
something?
they do
Is
it all the
that-
time. They
is
do
that
it.
gonna fall down?
They do it for boxing matches and I think MMA. These huge temporary stadiums, 15,000 seats. They
That's-
built it in a matter of months.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering,
They got that
what's going on. there.
stupid rich person money.
Yeah, but you
know?
could have the money. Do they have the labor force
Yeah,
to do something
apparently.
like that safely?
When you got the money, you always got everything.
I'm
else.
just
You
worried.
can bring the labor force in from wherever.
I'm glad to be watching it on DAZN.
If Mike Tyson can find a tiger to keep at his house,
Yeah,
you can find a labor force to build a stadium in the desert.
that's a great
I don't-
comparison, isn't it?
That is
Talking
a
about
wonderful comparison, actually.
Mike Tyson tiger.
Why didn't more
15,000.
people, give me my props on that. Well, by more people, I mean you, Quan. Quan should come in.
It was great. It was great.
Thank you.
20
Tigers
23-7.
and Tyson 23. Oh,
May-
he had to throw the Dallas score in there. The Dallas game is playing. Dallas apparently is not playing. Apparently the
Nah,
Bears are playing a
man.
Pop Warner team, having mercy on him. So Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz too.
Who you got?
You know what? I would love for Andy Ruiz to repeat. I would love for this guy
Mhm.
to keep those belts. Number one, he's American. Got to go with America. I'm a
America.
patriot, baby.
America.
But a marketing boxing standpoint,
Mhm.
Anthony Joshua. You're talking about a guy who sold out a 90,000
Yeah.
seat stadium in 60 minutes, I think?
Mhm.
A matter of minutes. This guy would be huge for boxing. And it was a huge
Yeah.
update. And congrats to Andy Ruiz. But boxing, especially the heavyweight division, needs Anthony Joshua, especially in Europe.
Yeah.
Andy Ruiz, as popular as he is getting, no one really, except hardcore people who
Yeah.
covered the sport. Me and you, we knew who Andy Ruiz was, and people who follow boxing, they knew who Andy Ruiz was, and his fans and his friends and family knew who Andy Ruiz was, but not a whole lot of other people really knew who Andy Ruiz is.
So what you're saying is you think Andy Ruiz is a loser, and
Oh,
you
that's
think that
libel, libel.
you need
No,
Anthony
no.
Joshua. You put some money on
No,
Joshua. Is that what
you would need more time to build Andy Ruiz. Andy
Yeah.
Ruiz would need to go the Tyson Fury route,
Mhm.
and they would need to put him
Yeah,
on.
work him.
Get it with a real marketing team and put him on anything and everything he can. And he's got a good look.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking guy. It was a hefty guy. Now he's kind of a slimmer guy. So
He's husky.
there you go. You could put him in whatever Shaquille O'Neal commercials he's doing.
Yeah.
You put him with the General. He can sell insurance.
You can
It's
tell.
like all kinds
I
of
don't know
stuff,
why
man.
Snickers haven't given him a
Snickers-
commercial yet. so-
Snickers, that's money. Man.
Oh,
Snickers, come
my.
on.
I don't know. I think Andy's gonna win this fight again, and I don't see it going any differently. Meaning, I think he's gonna knock him out.
Yeah.
His hands are too fast,
He's got fast hands
man.
for a heavyweight.
Yeah,
For a guy like that, you would not suspect a guy
sneaky fast.
who looks like that.
Yeah.
To have hands like that. But my man, 2 piece and a biscuit, he put on Anthony Joshua the first. Yeah. And Anthony Joshua got hit so hard when he got knocked down that first time. He looked around to confirm it. He looked at everyone else like, did I really get knocked down? And he was smiling and nah, come on. He was playing with me. And then went back and got smacked again. If
Scary.
you can't take it from Ruiz, I'm going to tell you right now, he ain't going to take it from Wilder.
Oh my
when
gosh,
they get
he's
in the
not
ring.
getting up.
No, he going to get folded in half like 800-year-old Luis Ortiz did. Yeah, that's just the name of it.
Well,
So
yeah,
every belt
yeah.
except for the WC belt, which of course is held by Deontay Wilder, is up for grabs. That's a lot of gold.
That's a lot of gold. Rumor is he's getting paid between $7 and $10 million for that fight too.
Life-changing money.
I mean, it's generation change. If you do it right, I mean,
Mhm.
don't go buying a whole strip club like Floyd Mayweather because you ain't got Mayweather money. But you can.
Come
You
on,
can do
man.
some things with that because
man.
he got paid for the first fight,
Mhm.
paid for this fight, and
Yeah. He's like, I'm
Shake
the
'em.
A side now, baby.
shake him down,
Shake-
shake that Hearn
Get
tree.
every dollar that
That's
you
right,
can.
and then get the pennies that
Because
come behind
Eddie
it.
Hearn ain't hurting for money. Get that money from Eddie Hearn.
He might be. We don't know, but he's certainly giving it away.
No, not when DAZN is there. DAZN
Yeah.
is giving all of these guys.
Yeah,
I'm
Rick,
surprised they haven't locked up Andy Ruiz yet. They locked up Wilder. They locked
it
up
might
Canelo.
be.
If he
might
wins, if he knocks out Joshua, I guarantee they'll back those Brink trucks
Yep.
up.
Yeah.
And what? Andy needs a food sponsor.
And
needs like a
needs,
Chipotle or
you know,
something.
something fun though.
Yeah.
I mean, like hot Cheetos,
Hot Cheetos.
something different.
Oh, that's Andy Ruiz. You get the hot Cheeto money now.
Yeah,
Oh,
got
he
that
too good
hot
for us now, huh?
Cheetos.
He got that
make
hot
that right. Make the hot Cheeto.
He makes it rain, but
good.
it's got those
The
little
hot-
smudgy
yeah.
fingerprints all over it.
Exactly, hot Cheeto.
He rubs his eyes and he starts cursing his kids. Why y'all let me do that?
Yeah, it's something different, man.
Yeah, or like Budweiser or something. Roy Nelson was a big guy. He got what? Popeyes was? No, Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis was Popeye's chicken.
right.
Andy Ruiz could do Popeye's chicken.
He could do all the chicken, you know.
All the chicken.
If you- There's protein.
Yeah, it's protein, man. Crazy. All right, let's start taking a look at what's happening, the fights and things like that are going to come up. UFC 245 rolling into Las Vegas
Yeah.
next week. So if you don't catch fights this weekend, next weekend's going to be a big one. Wait, before we move on,
Yeah.
I said Ruiz. Who did you say?
Ruiz.
Juan? What do you got?
I got Joshua.
Joshua.
Yeah.
Joshua
Okay.
Ruiz. There
We
you go.
got to get that wheel of death in here. So when
It's
there's a
coming.
loser, there will be. A
Oh, yeah, get ready,
loser.
people.
There'll be
Hey, we got
consequences.
The Wheel of Consequences is coming.
Yeah.
We got T-shirts coming. It's
She
gonna
said the
be
will
fun.
of death. She wants people to
Will of
die
death.
if you get a
Yeah.
wrong answer.
Why not?
She hangry right now. She wants
I
people
know.
to die. UFC 245 is coming up next week.
God, Colby Covington,
Colby
Kamaru
Covington,
Usman. I
Max
really
Holloway.
just need Usman to like put hands on this fool. Problem is, Colby Covington can really fight, so it's not going to be easy. But there's all the media stuff happening next week, and I can't go into that hangry because then it'll just all be angry with Covington. He's saying some real wild stuff about Dana White and, saying he'd slap him if he tried to put the belt on him, calling him all kinds of, names that's not his government name. Things
Mhm.
just foolishness.
Yeah,
It's
well,
enough of
he-
this dude already.
you see Floyd Mayweather laid the blueprint, right?
Mhm.
So he became Money Mayweather in WWE and became the villain.
Kobe ain't got that money.
Everything. So you get fighters of different levels all trying to reenact that. Deontay Wilder at some levels trying to do that, and all the smart ones are. Okay, because
Yeah.
in fighting that seems to be the only way.
Well, you have to have some controversy.
You gotta have controversy. You gotta have people talking about you, and that's what it is. We're talking about it right
Yeah.
now. So if your name isn't in people's mouths, you're not doing your job.
Right, because
we do say
Kamaru's
that
the
all the
champ.
time.
Did
Yeah.
we say him? No, we're talking about Kobe.
Usman's the champ, and we're talking about Colby because of what he says and how he goes about things. And I guess those are hookers he keeps with him. I don't.
Well, they are paid
he went to
talent.
Seat
I don't
Williams
know. I
route.
don't know, like if they're on the stroll, but they are being paid for their services, their girlfriends or whatever it is. He definitely has this thing, but
That's
it could go too far. Like we saw with Habib and Connor, it can go too far, and not just you can catch it, like some people around you can catch it as a
Mhm.
result of that behavior. So we'll see. But my problem is he's talking like that about Dana White. What do you gain by that?
Yeah.
This is just somebody who's thinking maybe he's brilliant. I don't know.
Dana White. Dana, look, man. Dana knows. Dana knows. He gets perturbed.
Well,
Maybe
no,
he is on a
Dana,
level.
I think Dana
Gets
genuinely
perturbed, but he
said that,
knows.
like, he's an effing idiot and
Yeah.
he's a loudmouth. I think he's being honest about being highly annoyed with the behavior.
Look,
and
Covington
so
he
some
isn't
stuff.
aiming for a Chuck Liddell type job after he retires.
Ooh,
Okay,
child, no,
he's
no.
not aiming for that. He's aiming to get as much money as he possibly
Get your
can,
money.
and talking himself into main events and things like that.
He did. But he
But he's
also
not trying to be anyone's
he's
friend.
he's a legit fighter though. He didn't just
He's-
talk
no, no, no,
himself.
he-
Like he embarrassed Robbie Lawler.
No, yeah, that surprised me.
Like just
That honestly surprised me
outclassed him, beat him up.
how much he just beat up Robbie Lawler. You know, the Robbie Lawler. You know, ruthless Robbie Lawler.
It just hurt.
And yeah, it hurt my blood-loving heart there. That
Like loving heart.
to see Robbie Lawler do. But Colby Covington,
Okay.
you can talk all that stuff if you can't back it up.
Mm-hmm.
And Colby can back it, just like Conor McGregor and
Right.
these other people that get under your skin and you want to see lose. But you know what? People will pay a lot of money to see a guy they don't like lose,
Right.
get beat up. So if
That's
Colby
right.
keeps on winning, what can we say?
Oh, child.
But Max Holloway also in the card. Amanda Nunes
Blessed,
facing
blessed.
the Iron Lady, Jermaine Durandamy. Marlon is fighting Jose. Wow, Jose Aldo's back. Uriah Faber's back. Wow.
I can't listen.
What year is this card?
I'm so excited about Uriah just because I love the dude's walkout. Like here in California, love in an arena. That one and John Jones, the champ, is here. When you hear that in the arena, like you get ready.
People go crazy for Uriah Faber. Sorry.
He just had a baby too. I think the baby.
He had a baby.
Not him.
Hmm.
But he's partially
did not know.
responsible for the baby,
Yes.
and I think she might be a little less than a year.
Oh, well, good.
Hey,
And,
Papa.
He's hoping to keep it going. He's had a successful return so far. We got two videos before we go. Number one is our Did You Miss This for this week? And we kind of touched it on TFC, but now we have the video for you. And this is 54-year-old legend, baseball legend, Doc Gooden.
Oh, child.
Doc Gooden is fighting someone named Catfish something.
Catfish Hunter?
No, no, yeah, Catfish. On a celebrity boxing fight kind of thing. They were at the weigh-ins, and it came to blows. Yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a comedian. A fight's a fight. I know we're in Philly, but I ain't Pat Combs, brother. I hope you right.
Oh, shit. Stop, guys. Come on, guys. I got you. Definitely stop. Easy.
Catfish, stop, bro. Stop.
That is the fakest crap I've ever seen in my
Who
life.
said catfish?
Yeah,
stop,
two beer
bro.
belly guys rolling around on the ground right there. Doc Gooden slapped him. If that was the punch, the Doc Gooden's in trouble. But
Yeah.
he kind of like slapped him, and the man fell down. A grown man who's got to be at least 270, 280.
And then
290,
he's still
300.
like scrambling on like
Braxton.
on the
Nope.
ground too, like
Yeah.
like a bug. that
Like a
can't
turtle
get
who's on his back.
footing.
He can't get
it-
up. Yeah,
It was terrible.
that is terrible. So there you go. Baseball legend Doc Gooden is slapping catfish out people's mouth.
Doc, you're right.
And
Come on.
then what we alluded to earlier, Dave Bautista, Drax from the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Batista in WWE. You caught up with him. You had a chance to ask him anything in the world,
I did.
and you went with a threat to your child. Okay, let's roll this video.
My life.
The video has no sound. Let's try it again.
Braxton, listen to your mother.
Tell him to get his handwriting better.
To get his handwriting better? That's all you got?
That
Listen
is
to
all
your
I got.
mother to get your handwriting better. You gotta have that good handwriting, man. You gotta have good handwriting.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing in life.
Yeah, it is.
That's it.
That's what I had. Listen, they played it in the second grade class. You know, what other kid in his school had Batista call his name? So, but the
You-
handwriting is a problem, man. It's the one thing he gives nuns about.
Teach him to be a doctor then.
That's gotta come, but I needed some kind of threat. You know, like what I'm gonna do? Fight
You're
the
talking
kid?
to one of the biggest stars in the world, and you're like, "Hey, can you threaten my child
My
over
child.
his handwriting?"
Yes.
He even stopped.
I like
Batista
his
even
reaction.
stopped.
He's like, that's how you
That's
got
it.
Like, what?
That's
Oh
it.
my
There's
God.
nothing else.
Well, and there is a method to my madness because for real, I talk to a lot of athletes, and you never know what may come out of their closets in a couple of months or years or what kind of craziness goes on. So you're not going to address my child too personally. So, listen, my kids are going to start many sentences with you guys. My mom was so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of them.
I know only the surface level stuff, and I'm like, how do you describe my co-host? I'm like, she's crazy, man. She's out of her mind.
No, not the committable kind, but the kind you gotta watch.
Yeah, the kind that will stab you with a kitchen knife and then go get you in and out.
No, I'm not gonna stab anybody. I'm going to kick you in the head with some heels.
She gonna kick you in the head from down here.
Hey, there's a movie. Oh God,
Like, only Bruce Lee could really do those kicks. So,
I think it's called like Dirty Low Down Shame or something like
Dirty
that
Low
with
Down
Keenan
Shame.
Ivory Wayans and Jada Pinkett Smith. And
yeah, I remember
Jada
that.
like drop kicked this soap opera star. She thinks it was a real person.
Ah.
The character on the street. If you ever watch that scene, then I don't have to say no more.
Yeah, right. Well, that is hilarious. Well, that's all the time we have this week because
it's bananas.
why not? Why not? So, thank you to our guest Adam Lopez for
Yeah.
joining us this evening, talking to us. Best of luck to him, and thank you, CC. Thank you, Quan. Thank you, Dallas,
Cool.
for not showing up to play the Bears. I appreciate that. Keeps my evenings
it's
going.
like-
I don't ever have to watch the Dallas games because I know
Showed up and boo
what's
booed
gonna
all over
happen.
the field.
I just want to. Anyway. Well, that's it for Combat Sports tonight. I got to get out of here before I cuss at somebody. I'm Jeremy Long. She's Cassandra Cousineau, the Sportsnista. We'll see you next week.